Maybe you're better than you think. Have you ever looked at one of your own pieces of art and immediately zeroed in on the flaws? Perhaps you shared it with a trusted friend, fellow artist, or teacher, but not without an apologetic preface. It's not exactly what I envisioned, but oh well, I learned something. I hear this all the time from students. It's becoming a recurring theme this year. They share their work with this underlying tone of disappointment, like they've already decided it's not good enough before anyone else has even had the chance to look at it. What's more, when they say, I learned something, it often doesn't sound like a celebration of growth. Instead, it feels like a way of softening the blow of perceived failure. Beneath their words is a quiet resignation, a sense of, I'll never measure up. And then I pull their work up on the screen. I start pointing out all the details they've overlooked, the innovative use of color, the thoughtful way they've balanced the composition, or the intriguing textures they've created. Slowly, I walk them through what's working in their piece. 9 times out of 10, their faces shift from skepticism to hope. They see it. Maybe their work is far stronger than they thought. This makes me wonder, how many of you are so laser focused on what's wrong with your art that you can no longer see what's right? Hi, my name is Carrie. Here on Artist Strong, I help self-taught artists with home studios who feel stuck with their art move from wondering what's next to confidently expressing themselves through unique original art. To date, thousands have joined the community. If you feel like gaps in your learning are holding you back from making your best art, sign up and watch my workshop, How to Create Art from Your Imagination. It is free for you to watch and a great way to get a taste of my teaching to see if I might be the coach for you. The link is in the description below. Now, let's dig into this topic because maybe you're better than you think. The blind spots of self-criticism. When you're immersed in your own creative process, it is easy to become your harshest critic. You notice every awkward stroke, every detail that didn't quite come together the way you imagined. But here's the thing, self-criticism often creates blind spots. The more you focus on what's wrong, the harder it becomes to see what's right. The next time you find yourself thinking, this isn't good enough, I want you to pause. Instead of spiraling into self-doubt, get curious. Ask yourself a few key questions. How have I not met my expectations? Be specific. What were you hoping to achieve that feels incomplete or unsatisfying? Vague dissatisfaction will not help you grow. Pinpointing specific issues will. What did I want? If your goals were fuzzy or undefined from the start, it's no wonder the outcome feels ambiguous. It's hard to measure success when you haven't clearly defined what success looks like for you. Look for signs of growth. When evaluating your own work, resist the urge to search for flaws. Instead, train yourself to look for progress. Ask yourself, where am I demonstrating an improvement in skill? Have your compositions become more dynamic? Are you being experimental with light and shadow in new ways? Maybe your brushstrokes are more confident, or you've started to understand color theory on a deeper level. What bothers me, and what can I do about it? If something about your work feels off, try to identify it. Is it an issue of proportion? Maybe the values feel flat, or the colors don't harmonize the way you hoped. Once you know the problem, you can focus on actionable steps to address it. This shift in perspective is crucial. When you frame your art as a snapshot of where you are right now, not as a measure of your worth, you'll start to see every piece as a stepping stone towards your next level of growth. The trap of unrealistic expectations. Here's something I see all the time. An artist tries something new, and by their second or third attempt, they're already frustrated that their work isn't perfect. Let's say you're attending a life drawing class for the first time. What are you expecting of yourself? Are you holding yourself to the same standard as someone who's been attending weekly sessions for years? If so, it's no wonder you feel like you're falling short. Think about how unreasonable that expectation is. Imagine if a beginner violinist expected to play a flawless concerto after just a few lessons, or if someone running their first 5K felt like a failure for not qualifying for the Olympics. Why do we do this to ourselves as artists? The truth is, learning something new is supposed to feel awkward and uncomfortable. That discomfort is the sweet spot where real growth happens. Discomfort is part of the process. Here's a common misconception. When your work feels hard, it must not be good. But discomfort isn't about the quality of your work. It's about the process of learning and growing. Think of it this way. Every time you push yourself to try something new, you're stepping into uncharted territory. You're building skills and laying the foundation for future breakthroughs. But that process often feels messy, frustrating, and yes, uncomfortable. The discomfort doesn't mean your work is bad. It means you're growing as an artist. The two sides of feedback. Most of us seek feedback to improve. We want others to help us identify the things we can't quite see, whether it's a proportion that's slightly off, a value range that needs more contrast, or a composition that feels unbalanced. But here's what many artists overlook. Feedback isn't just about spotting flaws. It's also about recognizing strengths. When someone else looks at your work, they can often see things you can't. They might notice how dynamic your brushwork is, how cleverly you've handled a difficult perspective, or how beautifully you've captured a mood. This is why feedback is so essential. It not only helps you refine your weaknesses, but it also helps you build confidence in your strengths. If you can't see what's working in your art, how can you confidently take your next steps? If you're convinced you're always falling short, when will you ever feel satisfied with your work? Why mindset matters. Here's something I've learned from years of teaching. What holds most artists back isn't a lack of skill. It's a limiting mindset. When you believe you're not good enough, you stop taking risks. You hesitate to try new techniques, explore new ideas, or share your work with others. You hold yourself to impossibly high standards and then punish yourself for not meeting them. This mindset doesn't just stifle your creativity, it robs you of the joy of making art. But there's good news. You can change your mindset. A new way to evaluate your art. I want to challenge you to try something different the next time you reflect on your work. Instead of asking, what's wrong with this? Ask, what's full of potential in this piece? What did I do well? What deserves recognition for the effort and growth I've put in? Take a moment to celebrate those wins, big or small. Every step forward, no matter how incremental, is a sign of progress. I want to note here, going through the process or the motions of this without it feeling truthful or honest can actually make us feel worse. There's research that shows using affirmations that you don't actually believe in or feel are possible for you is actually harmful. Take small steps if this feels really hard. Look for something grounded in comparing your current work to previous art you've made, or ask a peer or mentor you trust to help you start this process. And make space for your negative thoughts and assessments. It takes time and space to adjust this mindset. You don't have to do this alone either. This is the kind of thing I do inside Self-Taught to Self-Confident, where I guide people through filling in any gaps in their skill so they confidently express themselves through unique, original art. I can show you how to draw or paint anything you want. If that sounds exciting to you, you can learn more when you sign up for my workshop, How to Create Art from Your Imagination, for free. You'll enjoy a taste of my teaching, learn more about the program, and get a special 7-day enrollment offer when you sign up. Use the link here or in the comments below. An exercise for reflection. Grab a recent piece of art or a study you've completed. Take a few minutes to evaluate it with fresh eyes. Write down 3 things you did well. For example, maybe your composition is more dynamic than usual, or you experimented with a new medium and discovered a technique you like. One thing that feels unresolved or could be improved. Be specific. Instead of thinking, this doesn't look right, identify exactly what's bothering you and brainstorm steps to address it. One thing you learned in the process. Whether it's a technical skill, a new way of working, or even a mindset shift, reflect on how this piece has contributed to your growth. If you'd like, share your observations in the comments below. I would love to hear what you discover. You're better than you think. The next time you feel like your work isn't enough, remember this. The flaws you see so clearly are just one part of the story. Your art is more than the sum of its imperfections. It's a reflection of your creativity, your effort, and your willingness to grow. You're likely better than you think. The key is to see yourself clearly, embrace your progress, and keep moving forward, one piece at a time. As always, thank you so much for watching. Remember, proudly call yourself an artist. Together, we are Artist Strong.